Why did you call the cops on me, Linda? This is my driveway. I slam my car door shut. Linda crosses her arms. It violates community standards. You're disrupting our neighborhood. I step closer. I don't belong to your HOA. My voice drops. And I own the road your neighborhood uses. Linda pales. You... what? The cops shift uncomfortably as I pull out the deed. You trespassed and reported me for being on my own property. When I woke up that morning, something felt off. The air was still. My dog didn't bark like he usually did. I walked to the window, coffee steaming in my hand, and froze mid-sip. A 6-foot wooden fence, fresh pressure-treated pine, stood like a barricade across the end of my driveway. It wasn't there the night before. Now it blocked my truck entirely, cemented into the gravel, like a dam built out of sheer pettiness. Nailed right to the center was a neon orange paper. Willow Creek HOA violation. Community access restriction enacted unauthorized driveway surface. I blinked. My hands started to shake. Not from fear, but rage. Because here's the kicker. I don't even live in their HOA. Never have. They built their pastel-colored paradise by stringing homes around a private road. My road. The only way into their precious subdivision runs through land my father bought back in the 90s. An old farm road, long abandoned, that no one wanted until they did. 3 weeks ago, I decided to re-gravel my driveway with crushed black basalt, the kind of rock that looked like it had a purpose. Not like the HOA's approved beige mix that looked like granola and disappointment. Apparently, that was enough to spark a war. I stepped outside, ran my hand across the new fence. It was solid, professionally done. No permit posted, no warning issued, just a smug little slap of bureaucracy nailed to my private property. And I knew exactly who was behind it. Linda Voss. She wore pastel blazers like a uniform and carried her clipboard like a scepter. If her lips were moving, she was quoting policy. I marched down to the HOA clubhouse. The air was thick with fresh mulch and forced civility. Inside, Linda was arranging potted mums near the front desk. She looked up with that trademark smile, tight, polished, and completely fake. "Good morning," she chirped. "Enjoying the new improvements?" "You mean the fence across my driveway?" She flipped her clipboard open like she was reviewing a patient chart. "You were sent a warning about your gravel. It does not comply with approved materials or edge containment standards." I narrowed my eyes. "I'm not under your HOA jurisdiction. That's my land, my driveway." She didn't flinch. "Your gravel is visible from the main road. It disrupts community cohesion. We voted to restrict vehicular access until the matter's resolved." I leaned closer. "You blocked my truck on private property. That's criminal trespass." Linda tilted her head, feigning confusion. "We're simply enforcing our bylaws." I didn't even respond. I turned and walked out. My pulse thundered. Back home, I called Deputy Larson from the county sheriff's office. He was someone I'd known since high school. He came out within the hour, scratching his head as he looked at the fence. "They really blocked you in over gravel?" "Apparently it's the end of the world if it's not beige," I muttered. He took photos, inspected the cement footings inside. "Well, if it's on your property, it's a civil matter unless they damage anything. Want to file a report?" I nodded. "Yeah, I want to file everything." As he was writing it up, Linda showed up, sunglasses on, smug as a cat in cream. "Officer," she said brightly, "this man has installed a non-compliant surface that violates our visual standards. He's obstructing the aesthetic unity of our subdivision." Larson blinked. "Ma'am, that's not a crime." "Oh," she purred, "but he also threatened me." Raised his voice. "I feel unsafe." My jaw dropped. "You're kidding." She pulled out her phone. "I'm calling the sheriff's office to report a disturbance." He was aggressive. Larson raised both hands. "I am the sheriff's office." But she called anyway. That's when things got surreal. An hour later, a second unit arrived. Deputies walked up to me with cautious eyes asking for ID. I stood on my own porch while they questioned me because a woman who trespassed and blocked my vehicle had the gall to play the victim. It was infuriating. And then it hit me. The easement. The land. Back when I was 15, my dad bought that stretch of road for next to nothing. It cut through an empty pasture back then. The developer, desperate for access years later, built around it assuming no one would care. But my dad kept the rights. I remembered his words. They'll need this road someday, and they'll pay to use it. I sprinted to the shed, yanked open his filing cabinet, and there it was, a notarized deed. My father's name on the easement for parcels 8A through 14C, the only access road into Willow Creek. I wasn't just blocked, they were trespassing. The next morning, I filed a formal cease and desist with the county and prepped multiple deed copies, motion cameras, signs. I even printed out private road, no HOA jurisdiction banners and posted them on either side of the barricade. Then I walked straight into Linda's yoga class and handed her the paperwork. Her hands shook as she read it. "You're bluffing." "No," I said steady. "I own the road your whole neighborhood drives on." For once, she didn't have a snappy comeback. The next few days were tense. Residents whispered. I got apologetic emails. A few brave souls knocked on my door to say they didn't support what Linda did. Some admitted they thought the road was public. They had no idea. Rachel Kim, my lawyer and friend from college, reviewed the deed and grinned. "They've got their HOA castle built on your drawbridge." She drafted a formal letter. Remove the fence, apologize, and pay for road maintenance, or face legal consequences. Linda's response? A cease and desist against me, accusing me of harassment, of violating HOA airspace. She even included a doctored map claiming the HOA had annexed my land through continued use. Rachel just laughed. "We're going to eat them alive." At the next HOA meeting, I arrived with the deed, county maps, and a slideshow. I wore a shirt that read, "My driveway, my rules." Linda tried to steamroll the agenda. I stood up. "Before you discuss Flower Heights, let's talk about your entire community being built on stolen land." Gasps, whispers. I handed the documents to Ethan, the treasurer. "Every car in this subdivision enters and exits through my property. You've been trespassing for over 30 years. Ethan's face drained of color. "Are you saying we don't own the road?" "I'm saying," I said, "I own it. And you built around it without permission." Linda tried to cut me off. "His gravel is still out of compliance." Rachel stood up beside me. "This isn't about gravel. This is about trespassing." And Linda called the police on him while blocking his property. I pulled out my trump card, a new invoice, $212,000 in retroactive road usage fees, 32 years with interest. "I don't want the money," I said, "but if I'm harassed again, I'll pursue every cent." The room buzzed. A mother holding a baby asked, "Wait, will we lose access to our homes?" Linda barked, "He's bluffing." Ethan shook his head. "We need legal counsel. Now." By morning, the fence had been torn down, quietly, without a word. But Linda still wasn't done. Days later, zoning officer Carl Tatum showed up with a citation for my mailbox being 2 inches too tall and my hedges obstructing community view lines. I smelled Linda's perfume all over it, so I installed hidden cameras. 2 nights later, bam! Footage showed Linda meeting Carl in the dark, passing him an envelope behind my property line, then pointing out spots for fake violations. Rachel sent the footage to the local news. Within 24 hours, it aired under the headline, "HOA President and County Officer Caught in Property Scheme." The internet did the rest. Linda became a meme. Carl was reassigned. The HOA panicked. A week later, they held a meeting on my lawn. Ethan stood with a clipboard and trembling hands. "Linda, you lied. You called the cops on him for using his own land," she tried to argue. Then residents started speaking up. "You threatened to fine me for my door color. You forged my signature on a landscaping approval. You told us he was a squatter." Rachel passed around a petition. HOA members signed, one by one. Linda was removed that night. She left in a storm of gravel, yelling about injustice. But I wasn't done yet. I installed a solar-powered toll post at the road's entrance. with a QR code, camera, and payment app for road maintenance. Legal, documented, enforced. And it was manned by Marcus, my buddy from the service, now retired, who ran it with charm and zero tolerance for nonsense. Residents adjusted. Most were supportive. A few even tipped Marcus. But Linda? She returned with a new trick. Parked her car across the road in protest. Held a sign that read, "This is extortion." I filmed it. Deputy Larson arrived. And with the footage and the past reports, he had all he needed. Linda was arrested for criminal trespass and obstruction. She screamed as the cuffs clicked. Her sunglasses fell off. It was all caught on camera. It went viral within a day. Linda forgot the first rule of war. Don't start a fight with someone who owns your only exit. She sued for emotional distress, claimed I humiliated her, that the toll gave her anxiety. Rachel brought the receipts, emails, footage, logs, records. The judge not only dismissed the case, but sanctioned her for a frivolous suit and barred her from serving on any HOA board for 5 years. Linda tried a final stunt, a pathetic protest with a sign reading, "HOA Lives Matter." No one joined. Her appeal, a scrapbook of newsletters and half a pizza-stained petition. Legally useless. Eventually her house went up for sale. A sweet couple with 2 kids bought it. On moving day, they brought me brownies and asked if I liked jazz. I hosted road day. We grilled. Kids played hopscotch on my gravel. Ethan gave a speech about accountability. I unveiled a new sign. Private road trespassers will be towed. Care and energy will be filmed. That night, I sat on my porch, coffee in hand, and watched the basalt sparkle under the stars. Linda thought calling the cops would bury me. She didn't know her entire kingdom sat on my road. Never mess with the guy who owns the way out. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful true stories. Your support allows us to keep delivering valuable insights and stories that inform and inspire people everywhere. Thank you for watching Work Story, and see you in the next one.